Welcome. Episode 63 of the Nooner. This is my 63rd go-around on the Nooner. I am your host. My name is David Bradley. Welcome. Appreciate you being here. While we wait for everybody to come in, just want to give a shout out to first timer here, Brandon. Welcome. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out today. So this is the Nooner. Every weekday, 12 o'clock noon Pacific Standard Time, I'm popping in, and I'm going to be dropping a little noontime nugget about either sales, business, or life. That is the purpose of the Nooner. Today, we're going to be looking at crazy versus committed. What's the difference between crazy and committed? How you guys doing today? Thank you guys for all being here. Brandon, appreciate you hanging out. Brandon, let the kids in the meerkat world know where you're at today. Where are you tuning in from? MNI at 1993 MNI. Thank you for participating. Appreciate you being here. Welcome to the Nooner. Not sure if you can leave comments down there or not, Brandon, but if you can, let everybody know where you're at today. All right, so let's get this thing rolling. My name is David Bradley. I am your host. This is the Nooner. Every weekday, Monday through Friday, Pacific Standard Time, I'm dropping in to bring you a little bit of a noontime nugget about either sales, business, or life. Who am I? Hey, buddy. Who am I? Hey, buddy. Who am I? I am a sales and marketing manager with Grant Cardone. I've been working with Grant since March of 2011. Been following his material and studying his content since 2003. Grant's material took me from barely surviving in sales to thriving in it. So as soon as I got an opportunity to share that with other people, I was all in. So it's an honor and a privilege to do that for people. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here and talk to you guys today. A couple other things about me. I'm the author of a book called How to Stop Smoking Without Killing Anyone. Smoked cigarettes for just around 15 years, and I couldn't quit. Tried many ways to quit, but I couldn't figure it out. But I finally found a way to stop, and it worked. So much so that I haven't had a cigarette since May of 2002, and that was it was very successful for me. So I wrote a book on how you can do the same. You can follow in my footsteps, and you can stop smoking without trying to quit. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. That's all right. Hey, Bill showed up. Thank you for being here, Bill. Appreciate the favors and the restreams, everybody. The other thing about me, I'm the founder of a hashtag called Rich Man's Gym, and I'm going to discuss that a little bit in some graver detail today. Rich Man's Gym is about home-based strength and conditioning for body, mind, and spirit. Don't believe you need to go to the gym to get in a good workout or look good naked. You can do that from the privacy of your own home, or down at the local park. Anywhere. Rich Man's Gym is anywhere you want it to be. Backyard, garage, park, you name it, Rich Man's Gym is there. Speaking of which, that is kind of the topic, or at least what inspired me to do the Nooner today. Short story for you guys. I exercise a lot. Obviously, I'm writing a book about home-based strength and conditioning. So this morning I'm out doing my thing. And one of my things in the morning is I like to do high-intensity interval training, and I'm fortunate enough to live on a hill. So our street has this very, very high incline, and so after a little bit of a warm-up, I'll go down to the bottom, and I'll sprint up that thing as fast as I can. I tend to pretend that I got a big fat dog chasing me, or we got, it's a zombie apocalypse, and I got to get up to the top of the hill to save Rick and Michonne. But it gets me going, and I like starting my day with some, it gets you breathing heavy. By the time you get to the top, you're sucking wind. I got pretty good at it, believe it or not, and so resistance to this movement, to add some challenge to it, I went out and I got me a weight vest. I got a 40-pound weight vest. Not quite at the 40 yet, so I'm putting on a 20-pound weight vest, and I'm running up and down the hill. And it's not easy. I won't lie. So it is hard. When I get there, I'm sucking wind, and it's challenging, and it's a workout. Workouts aren't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be challenging. So it is. Reaching about the third lap. Today's also trash day, so one of my neighbors is poking her head out, and she sees me, coming up the hill, and she's like, "You're crazy." And I'm like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm committed, right? So it got me thinking about that. It's like, man, what's that all about? She was pulling my leg. She was, joking around a little bit and teasing me a little bit. But like, I started thinking though, like, what's the difference between crazy and committed? So I wanted to put that out there to the meerkat world. Let me get some feedback from you guys. What do you think is the difference between crazy and committed? What do you guys think? And also, when we look back, if we look back at our history, who just tuned in here? Somebody popped in. I just want to give a quick shout out. Oh, Scott Amos is here. Oh my God. What am I going to do? That's a lot of pressure. Okay. I can do it. Okay. So, no, but like what who do you know? Who can you think of who was highly, highly committed, but society deemed them crazy, local, nuts? So what do you guys think? I mean, what's the difference between crazy and committed? I'm going to pull up, I got definitions over here on Google that we're going to look at and talk about real fast. And while I'm doing that, we'd love to get some feedback from you guys in terms of what you think the difference between crazy and committed is, and then also, who can you think of that, from our history? This can be recent. This could be, deep past. I'll list a few examples in a minute, but I wanted to open this up to you guys as well. Hey, Laura, thank you for being here. Okay, so let's look at crazy. So what is crazy other than a really classic country song by Patsy Cline? Who knows that song? Famous Amos. Man, what an awesome handle you got there, Scott. That's fantastic. I love it. Okay, so the definition of crazy, it's an adjective, which means it's describing something. First definition, mentally deranged, especially as manifested in a wild or aggressive way. Stella went crazy and assaulted a visitor. That's the example they give. Synonyms: mad, insane, out of one's mind, deranged, demented, not in one's right mind, crazy, lunatic. Thanks for the restream, Laura, and the favors. Non compos mentis. Unhinged, mad as a hatter, mad as a March hare. Okay, the opposite, obviously, sane. Extremely annoyed or angry is another definition. So the guy went crazy, or this is driving me crazy, right? Foolish, it was crazy to hope that good might come out of this mess. So some synonyms to that: stupid, foolish, idiotic, silly, absurd, ridiculous, ludicrous. Another definition for crazy: extremely enthusiastic. Like I'm crazy about her, right? I think about my wife like I'm crazy about my wife. Crazy. That's a song by Patsy Cline, right? Crazy, crazy for feeling so lonely. Right? Great song. Love it. If you haven't heard it, look it up. Fantastic. Classic 1950s country. What else? Appearing absurdly out of place or in an unlikely position. Okay. Now, in the hip-hop world, they've actually shortened that because I guess the Z part is just too much. So now we just got cray. Cray, cray. Right? So the origin, ironically, is it's Latin, and craze, C-R-A-Z-E, means full of cracks. So your porch could be craze. My street, the one that I run on, is craze. I know people whose face is craze. I know somebody whose heels are craze. I know people, right? Like, think about that. It's just funny. So that's craze. Add the Y, you got crazy, and it's a definition. So let's see. Alexander Bell, insane. Yes. Well, he was accused of being insane. Absolutely. Fantastic example, especially because I hadn't thought of that one. Thank you, Scott Amos. Committed. Let's look at that definition. Who's committed? Sometimes if you're crazy, you get committed, right? So the definition of committed is feeling dedication and loyalty to a cause, activity, or job. Wholeheartedly dedicated. Wholeheartedly meaning your whole heart is into that deal, okay? So my fitness, I'm committed. I smoked cigarettes for 15 years. I'm still trying to regain my lung capacity. I haven't had a cigarette since March of 2002. I still feel it. Okay? So if you're on the smoky treats now, when you stop, you got work ahead of you. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, because it only gets worse. The body will heal itself, but man, I still feel it. So that's why I like running up that hill, because it really pushes my lung capacity and increases my endurance and my ability to take in oxygen. And the more oxygen I get in my body, the more of it goes in my brain, and the smarter I am. So I'm committed to my fitness level. I'm committed to helping other people become better today than they were yesterday. I'm committed to doing that for myself. How are you committed? So the root word of that is commit. Carry out or perpetrate. Pledge or bind. Pledge or set aside. In a long-term emotional relationship with somebody. To be dedicated to something. Devout, devoted, dedicated, loyal, faithful, staunch, firm, steadfast. Okay? So when we look at the origin, committeri, it's Latin, means to join or entrust. Put into. Put or send. Okay? All right? What'd you get from that? Okay? So Scott Amos talked about Alexander Graham Bell. He invented the phone. He's like, hey, check this out. I'm going to put these wires together, right? And you're going to talk into this thing over here, and then on the other end, people are going to hear you, right? They already thought Samuel Morse was a whack job for making the telegraph, okay? And all that did was transmit dots and dashes, beeps, an electronic pulse. Bell's like, hey, man, what if I can get my voice on that wire? I'm going to do that, okay? And then he gets into doing that. And people are like, you're nuts, dude. You're crazy, okay? Muhammad Ali. If you study the beginning of his career, people thought he was nuts. Okay? You look at the stand that he took as a Muslim in America, a black Muslim in America in the 60s. Okay? People thought he was nuts, cray-cray, whacked. Okay? But his commitment to his sport, his religion, his personal ethics, they were in. Okay? And on the other side of that thing, complete and total admiration. He's going to go down in history as, what did he say? The greatest. Okay? Pablo Picasso. Okay? Pretty good chance he was a little... And people told him that. When he first started, people said, dude, your paintings look nuts, dude. Throw them out. Stop. Okay? They're now priceless. Nelson Mandela changed the country from jail and then wound up being the president. Okay? Guy had a clear-cut mission, 100% committed, all in. What did he do? Everybody thought he was nuts. Okay? Mahatma Gandhi, same thing. Changed an entire country. Could even go so far as to say that Mandela and Gandhi changed the world with their commitment, with their belief in a cause. Okay? Galileo changed astronomy, changed science, changed physics, okay? Went to jail for it, his commitment. Okay? Jesus, obvious, right? Who else can you guys think of? Bill, you got to have somebody. Who else was pretty nuts? Here's one of my favorites. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Okay? For his time, bona fide rock star. Seriously, the guy was banging more women than he could see, than you could count, and he was doing cocaine. Dude was nuts. But when it came to his music, when it came to his artistry, committed. 100%. All in, burn the ships, let's roll. Okay? John F. Kennedy on the moonshot. Okay? He dropped that little bomb in the early 60s. He's like, hey, we're going to get on the moon by before the 70s. People are like, you're nuts. He goes, nope. We're all in now. I said it. We got to do it. Commitment. Right? He burned the ships, okay? Another example who actually fights this weekend in Australia is Ronda Rousey. She didn't just change women's mixed martial arts. She changed mixed martial arts in general. She's brought more people to that sport than anybody else. Okay? 5 years ago, the president of the UFC, Dana White, said women will not fight in the UFC. Period. And then she went and said, if you've read her biography, she went and said, hey, told her mom, here's what I want to do. Her mom was like, you're nuts. She told other people, here's what I want to do. You're nuts. I want to be in MMA. You're nuts. You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. She's like, nope, I'm committed. Everybody knows who she is now. Where's she at? Scott Amos says, people look to each other for what's normal. Yeah, exactly. The problem is that leaders can't just fit in. We end up with folks playing follow the followers. Yep. Which is exactly my next point. Here's my question. So for you, grab a pen, grab some paper. We're going to do an exercise. What's your mission? If you told somebody what your mission is, would they accuse you of being crazy? If not, maybe it's time to rethink that mission. Right? What's your mission? What's your vision? What do you see if you look 7, 8, 10, 12 years down the road? What do you see? What's the vision? What's the mission? What are your targets? You know? And if you don't have one, what I want to ask you is what happened to it, because you did. You know you did. You just got to remember. Think back far enough. It will hit. You probably had some pretty big targets, that people may have talked you out of. Is that possible? What are you committed to right now? That's the real question, okay? So many of us, as Scott has pointed out, are committed to just getting by, right? You'll hear people say, I just want to be happy. I mean, what kind of life is that, And someone who's, without, I don't want to name names, but somebody that I know who has said that, we just want to be happy. We just want to get by. What's ironic is that they're very devout Christians. So when you talk about their commitments, they'll talk about commitment to God. Like if you ask them about that, they'll talk about their commitment to God and about being a good Christian, and that's all good. That's all good. But I'm going to read something. There it is. Okay. Here's my point, though. Okay. God made man in His image. If you're a Christian, if you have any level of spirituality at all, we can all just agree that. Okay. Which means what? If God made man in his image, that means we, man, are an image of God. Okay? So my question to you then would be, is there anything ordinary about God? You know, when God made the universe, did he impose any limits on that? Did anybody say to God, hey, God, I think you might want to tone it down a little bit. I mean, the giraffe, really? Nobody said that. The Horsehead Nebula? I mean, really? I mean, isn't that just a little out there, Mr. God? Nobody said that. Okay? And I don't think God had wasn't realistic in his vision at all. God's an artist. Okay? So, you almost have an obligation to the big guy to live an extraordinary life. You're a piece of him. So I'm going to wrap the Nooner up with the quote from this book. This is the 10X rule. It's in our store right now for 40% off. In fact, everything in the store is for 40% off. If you're catching this video on YouTube after the fact, there's a link right below. You follow it. Coupon code Mr. Black. All in November. Okay, here's the quote. I suggest that you become obsessed about the things you want. Otherwise, you are going to spend a lifetime being obsessed with making up excuses as to why you didn't get the life you wanted. Okay? So the moral of the story is I want you to commit to your mission. Commit to your vision. Commit to your dreams. These aren't anybody else's. These are yours. Okay? I want you to be deaf to those who say you can't. Deaf to those who say you're crazy. Do not allow people to convince you to be realistic. Okay? The people that are approaching you and trying to tone you down and tell you that you're just, be realistic, or, maybe you should think of something else, or all that stuff, those are just people that gave up. Okay, so tomorrow, remember this? Be deaf. Okay. Tomorrow is Veterans Day here in the U.S. of A., where we honor the people that have served and protected this nation. I'm going to be talking about 2 of them tomorrow. If you're here in the States, make sure to throw some thanks down to a veteran. Give some honor to the brave men and women that not only have helped shape the nation, but have protected us from the bad guy. Okay, this has been episode 63 of the Nooner. Hey, if you missed it, if you're tuning in late, you can hit me up on youtube.com/Cardone Solutions. There's a playlist over there called The Nooner. You can get caught up on all 62 previous episodes. I am your host. I am David Bradley. Thank you, Bill. Oh, in the UK, Veterans Day was on Sunday. Nice, nice. Well, hey, there's a lot of brave men and women out there that keep the United Kingdom safe, and we work together. After a few minor disagreements in the 1700s, we finally got our stuff together. So thank you to all the veterans in the UK. Thank you to the veterans here in the United States and across the world. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon Pacific Standard Time, for episode 64 of The Nooner. Be great, you guys. Remember, your greatness. Don't fight it.